There is a specific spot where your showdown value becomes useless, and you're either going to have to bluff or you're going to lose the hand. Let me show you. All right, so we're going to open from EP with ace king. The big blind's going to call. Flop comes queen, 8, deuce. When the big blind checks it over, we're going to see bet small here, and big blind is going to call. Turn is a 10 of spades, and when the big blind checks it over, I think we've got some showdown value, even when the big blind check calls on the flop here. Of course, we're beating a lot of club draws. We're beating some ace high that may float, etc. We're going to check it back here because we've got showdown value versus draws, gut shots, whatever. Now the river is the 6 of clubs, bringing in the front door flush. And now when the big blind checks it over, this is a spot we need to realize. Once the front door flush has come in here, we just really don't have showdown value at this point anymore. And so many players can't carry that logical thread. Well, we said we were going to check back the turn because we're ahead of some of those club draws, right? Well, now the club draws have gotten there. And of course, we don't beat any queen X. We don't beat any 8X. Of course, hands like Jack 10 made a pair. Hands like 10-9 that floated on the flop made a pair. So now at this point, once the front door flush comes in, we're losing to almost everything. The other thing we got to realize here is once the big blind checks on the river, this is generally just going to be some type of showdown value hand. A high percentage of the time, not all the time, but a high percentage of the time, when we check back on the turn after c-betting small, if they made a super strong hand on this river, right? If they made a flush, if they got there with a gut shot like Jack 9 or something like that, they're just going to start coming out and betting now on the river because they don't want this to check through again. And also, if they floated the flop with some BS and just got here with air, what are they going to do on the river? They're just going to come out and bluff. So when they check on this river, it's just going to be showdown value a large percentage of the time. So our ace king is never good. But because we can eliminate some of those strong hands from the range that may just come out and bet with a high frequency, not always, but a high frequency on this river, what is the range going to be? Well, it's going to be a lot of hands like 8X, 10X, pocket 9s, right? It doesn't necessarily mean they have the strongest range. So now that the front door flush has gotten there, harder for them to put us on a bluff, we have a couple options for bluffing on this river. We can either come out and choose maybe a small to medium size, just folding out all the 10X, the 8X, the pocket 9s, that type of stuff. Or we could come out with a big boy bet on this river, knowing it's less likely our opponent has a flush, and just fold out all of the queen X. Either way, this is the spot we need to realize that we just no longer have showdown value, and making the highest EV play is probably going to be turning our hand into a bluff.